This is an educational example based on my personal approach. Results vary widely, and nothing here guarantees profit or future performance. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Trading with Ashley show. Today's video is very important because I want to help those of you that got caught up in some drama last week with the market pulling back. I want to help you crash proof your portfolio. What does that mean? Well, that means you do not want to lose control of your portfolio when things pull back. Sometimes you're forced to sell positions just to keep your head above water. And so I wanted to take some time and take you through some of the trading sins as I see them and ways that you can help avoid those sins in the future as you are looking at everything. Now, the best time to worry about crash proofing your portfolio is when the market is green. Now that things are starting to recover, some of the volatility is dying down. This is the time to go look at everything you have and let's take stock and see if you are fairly allocated into the different tickers you have and if you have enough diversity and if you have a few hedges on. We're going to talk through all of that. So get your pen and paper so that we can help you get to a point where when the market pulls back, your account doesn't pull back as dramatically as maybe it did last week. So here are some of the common trading sins. The first one to me is the most important. Please, whatever you do not use 100% of the margin available to you. If you've never used margin, then you may want to hold off altogether until you fully understand the ramifications of using margin. Now, I want you all to be aware that when you use margin, you may think it's only taking a certain amount of margin, and that's fine if everything stays up. But if the market pulls back dramatically, a position that may have been holding $10,000 in margin, suddenly it's wanting to hold $15,000 in margin. And before you know it, you're getting a little knock on your portfolio inbox saying that you've been margin called. Now, when you get a margin call, you either have the opportunity to close out positions or you get to add cash to your portfolio to get everything back in order. But what if you don't do that? What if you ignore the message? What if you don't even see it? What if you don't have the cash to put in it? Then basically what you're doing, and you sign off on this when you trade with margin, you are turning over the keys to your portfolio to your broker, and you are telling them, go ahead and do what you need to do to get my account back in order. Well, that usually never works out good for you because they are going to close out any positions that are putting them and you more at risk. And that may lock in a loss that would have been able to bounce back just fine if you had not over leveraged yourself. So that's my number one lesson for those of you that are going to try to get into a situation where you're using margin. To keep myself safe, I never use more than 30% of what's been allocated to me. That usually gives me enough of a buffer to withstand any kind of drawdowns. Let's talk about sin number 2. This is a larger sin that I see most of you committing. This is when you over allocate into any one ticker. Now, I'm not talking about the SPY or the Qs or even some blended ETFs that I like to use because those are diversified by nature. I am talking about one CEO, one board of directors, one Citadel hit piece. You're making yourself vulnerable if you put too much of your portfolio into that one ticker. What is too much? Well, if you have a larger account, then consider only about 5% into any one ticker. Now, be mindful of the sector that you're in because let's say you are in a crypto mining stock, but you're also in Robinhood. Those share a lot of the same movement, so you want to be careful of that. If you have a smaller portfolio, a lot of times if you restrict yourself to around 5%, there's really not much you can do to sell options. So if you have a smaller portfolio, consider no more than 10% into any one ticker. Let's talk about speculative trades. Speculative trades are typically lower priced tickers because they haven't yet proven themselves and they don't have 4 quarters of GAAP profitability. They're not yet proven that their business model can make money. They haven't gone through a lot of earnings where they've been able to show growth. Those are speculative plays. Now, if you get in on a speculative play at the right time and you're just patient, a lot of times those can grow up to the incredible stocks and pillars in your portfolio. But not all of them will work out. For that reason, I like to put no more than 1 to 3% into any one speculative play. And then you might want to consider even putting stop losses on those trades, maybe trailing stop losses, so that if they pull back too much, well, then you can get out. Because when you have these smaller companies that don't have large market caps, all it takes is one big buy or one big sell to skew that price. So you need to be aware of that. Also, some of these companies, as they're growing, they do dilute their shares, and that ends up pulling the stock down. They're more sensitive to market pressures as well. So you want to consider all of that when you are trading speculative companies. Let's talk about the types of trades that you're putting on. Now, me personally, I like to use 80% of my portfolio for the wheel strategy. That's the more consistent, conservative approach. Now, I do reserve about 20% of my trading funds for alternative strategies, but I never want to over allocate into the alternative strategies because they are riskier by nature. And plus, a lot of them need just a really good setup to actually take off. So that's talking like skips and leaps, looking at put credit spreads, call credit spreads, iron condors. All of those are wonderful, but there's a time and a place for them. So you want to make sure that the bulk of your trading is more conservative in nature because when you are trading, especially if you're going to do it for a living, you need to keep large swings in your portfolio down. And you never want to lose so much money that then you're not in a situation where you can actually make more money with the money that you have. So you always want to consider, especially if you're trading for a living, to keep cash allocation to the side, either to pull that money in if you need to because there's some incredible opportunities you want to take advantage of, or instead of getting out of losing positions that you have that cash to pull on for important household bills that you may need. It's very important that you don't hit the panic button and just get out of everything. I don't know of any brokers where they allow you to just completely get out of all of your positions all at once. But if they did, my fear is that if you're going through something like you did last week in a panic, you might do that. And you should take time after the market, on the weekends, and when the market's closed to go look at all of your positions and decide if you have profit in some of those positions. Maybe you're at a point where you can go ahead and look at getting out of those in profit. Or like I said, at the very least, go ahead and put a trailing stop on it, and then you just set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about that moving forward. The other thing that I see traders do that I really want you to be fully aware of, it's not putting stop losses on shorter term call options. Now, I don't teach shorter term call options. I'm comfortable getting into a skip for a leaves if the technicals are correct. But even when I do skips and leaps, I still like to keep myself safe, especially if I've invested in the skips anywhere from 3 to 9 months expiration. If it hits the 50% loss, a lot of times I may just get out and then I'll try to look for another opportunity with the remaining funds. Or if you really like that ticker and you've taken a hit on it and it's still at a good level of support, maybe just buy the shares with what's remaining and forget the call option at this point. Just buy the shares. With the shares, you don't have to worry about time decay. You just have to worry about eventual movement up. And a lot of times that can give you a lot of peace of mind. So you don't have to worry so much about the trade being eaten away by time decay and then price movement going sideways or worse yet, down. And the other sin that I see some of you committing that is really easy to get over because it's actually fun is you forget to take profit. Go ahead and sort your portfolio, sort it every week or so, and look at positions that are green. If they are green, and if it's shares that you're swing trading, if it's a leaps that you want to consider, go ahead and lock in some profit, especially if you have more than one. Let's say you have 2 or 3 leaps on a stock. One time it's up 25%. Maybe take profit on that, then wait for a pullback to add that particular position back. Or if you're dealing with swing trading and you find yourself in profit within the next 24 hours, consider taking that 5 or 6% profit and going ahead and calling it a day, waiting for the next setup. For those of you that attended my live leaps training that I did over the weekend, I'm hearing from some of you, you're already up about 6% on the trade that I offered you. Now, for those of you that missed the live trading, don't worry too much. I am going to try to come up with other opportunities to do live trading with all of you. I really enjoy getting the FaceTime with all of my viewers, and I think you get a lot of it as well. Remember, if you're with me, Trading with Ashley, there is no trader left behind. I picked out another video for you. You can watch that right here.